Okay, another new talk here. This one is on saving the brain. And the brain is part of the body. It's the brain, you can think of it's the CPU. It's the central processing unit of the body. Okay, so there's a book actually a good doctor wrote, and the title is Save Your Brain. Okay, so I'd like to talk about that briefly. A neighbor where I grew up in Minnesota, I had a next door neighbor. He was a real nice guy. And when he was young, he had become a chronic alcoholic. And he did that for a number of years, and he finally made the commitment to never drink again. And he never did drink again. Past, I don't know if it was maybe 35 years old or 40 years old or something. He never drank again. And he had a pretty good life. He became successful. He worked in sales at a car dealership that sold new and used cars, and he did pretty well. But the reason I mention this, because in his case, the damage was done. The damage to his brain was done in those years of drinking, even though he quit later. And by the time he was 60 years old, he had severe enough dementia that he had to go into a memory care center because his mind did a major erase. And he lived out the last 10 years of his life, unfortunately, in that memory care center. He died about 4 years ago at age 70, the age I am now. And so that's how life was ruined, because the brain was destroyed by alcohol. And I have another friend who has also been a lifelong chronic alcoholic, and he only quit about 2 years ago at age 68 because he got a cancerous tumor growing on his pancreas, and that woke him up. He had a little help from his sister. He was living in another state far away, and his sister jumped on a plane and went and got him and took him to her home in Colorado, where he got treated at the Colorado University Cancer Center. And that was life-saving for him, because when a person is drinking heavy, especially in the older age, once they're past 55 or 60 years old, it really severely affects the brain. It really affects the thinking. It really affects the pleasure center of the brain that lies to them and says, this is so good, I have to do it. I want it so bad. And that was life-saving for him to finally get that wake-up call. In the last report on him, within the last month, I got the news that he still is cancer-free. And so that's really good news. So what things can we do to save our brain? Well, number one, don't drink. Don't drink alcohol. Just don't do it. You don't need it. There's no quality of life improvement whatsoever from drinking alcohol. You'll see other people throughout life who do this. And so One thing is not drink alcohol. Another thing, if you're right-handed and you do most things like writing with your right hand, the advice by a doctor who has examined the brains by MRI of thousands of people and done a lot of research in this area says that use both hands. You write with your right hand, well, write with your left hand too. Use chopsticks with your right hand. Try to do that with your left hand. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is learn a new language. Even if you just learn a few words a day in a new language, it really helps. Also, meet new people. And when you drive, if you regularly drive to a friend's house or to work or something you regularly do, the suggestion is don't take the same route every time. Take a different route some of the time, because this actually helps the brain builds new neural connections in the brain. And another guy that I know that I just visited in the hospital, he had a stroke in his late 60s after many years of smoking cigarettes and drinking wine very often, every day, every single day. He had a stroke that put him into a long-term coma. And my wife and I actually saw him in the hospital, and his eyes are open, and he can move his eyes around looking at you. But he can't even open his mouth. He can't even do anything. So that's another tragic story of life basically lost because of destroying the brain with addictions to alcohol and cigarettes. Anyway, I have no addictions. We'll talk more about this later. I have to get ready. I'm flying to the other side of the world today. Take care and please click. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Make some comments if you will. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.